Good morning, everyone. How's your Wednesday so far? It's early, so hopefully it's still going good. This is your movie morning news update for Wednesday, December the 18th. Hope y'all are having a good time. I had a great time last night on going back to Smallville. It was ridiculous. Maybe a little too ridiculous. So, if you're curious, go check it out. It's a great cup. You'll never guess what we're talking about. Even though the thumbnail, I'm sure, already gave it away. We are talking about Superman. So, we got that. And the other story we're going to be talking about is Bluey getting a movie. And I'm freaking stoked for both. So, enough diddle-daddling. Diddle-diddling? Enough horse footing around. I don't know, guys. I'm still asleep. Let's get into it. Story number one. So this is an interesting thing that we've got going on here. Both Collider and Ionan went and visited James Gunn on the set of Superman. They both published articles, and both articles had some very interesting details. But instead of reading through all of both of them, I've kind of combined them and shortened them a bit. So definitely, I've got the links in the description of this episode. It should also be in the pinned comment if future me remembers to do that. So definitely go give these a complete read over at Collider and Ionan. But here's just some of the best of bits on here. So starting off from Collider, this is Superman behind the scenes of James Gunn's vision. So taking on the most popular superhero of all time is no easy task, but with James Gunn's Superman coming out in 2025, he's not only attempting to do the character justice on the big screen, he's also introducing the world to the new DC universe. Excuse me, I had to take a sip of coffee. Such a good cup. Gunn, now the co-chairman and CEO of DC Studios alongside Peter Safran, is building the new vision almost from scratch, moving the company away from the DC EU that had existed since 2013. Superman serves as the foundation of the ambitious new plan, which also includes projects like Creature Commando, Peacemaker Season 2, and the upcoming Supergirl film, which is also very exciting. Now we switch over to Ionan. During Ionan's visit to the set in Cleveland, Gunn discussed how Superman won't be an origin story. Instead, the film starts mid-action. Quote, "We just start in the middle of the action," Gunn said. "Superman already exists. Lois and Clark already know each other. Lex hates Superman's guts from the beginning, although they don't know each other personally. This immediate start aligns with Gunn's desire to create a movie that respects the audience's familiarity with the character while delivering something fresh." I like this. Probably goes without saying, but we've seen Superman's origin. We get it. We all get it. Sure, there may be a kid that's never seen a Superman anything, that this may be their first Superman thing. I'm sure he'll do a great job of explaining it. We don't need the origin again. We got Superman the movie. We got Man of Steel. Maybe in half a decade? Not half a decade. Half a century. Maybe like 5 decades. I could see a need to revisit it. But I think there's no need to do an origin story. Flashbacks is totally fine for sure. Somebody like Supergirl, you might need a little bit more info. But I would argue even Supergirl is pretty straightforward. And we've had the show, the characters showed up in various places. So yeah, definitely I like the idea of let's just get to it. You know, this world's already existing. No need to pussyfoot around. That's probably what I was looking around for before I started reading this article. I like it. Back to Collider. Superhero films often fall into formulaic origin story traps, but Gunn's Superman avoids this by starting with established relationships and a central conflict. He's added, "It was about really putting us in the middle of the action from the beginning." This approach is a significant departure from the character's portrayal in the DCEU, where earlier Superman films leaned heavily on origin stories. I love how it says earlier Superman films in the DCEU leaned heavily on origin stories, as if there wasn't one There was one. It was Man of Steel. I wouldn't necessarily say Batman v Superman is an origin story. Maybe we learn more about why Superman is who Superman is. But I also wouldn't call it a Superman movie. So I think they're doubly wrong there. Returning to Ionon, this story takes place over a short period, Gunn confirmed, emphasizing its focus and immediacy. Rather than telling a sprawling story, the film zeroes in on Clark's place in the world and his relationships. Love it. Back to Collider. Another challenge for Superman films has been keeping the action visually exciting, given Superman's immense power. Gunn drew inspiration. This is something I wanted to point out because this is fantastic. Gunn drew inspiration from Top Gun Maverick to choreograph thrilling sequences. We shoot a lot of our action with actual drones flying in and around Superman and the people that he's flying with, Gunn explained. Gunn's focus on aerial combat brings a fresh dynamism to Superman's legendary flights. Fantastic. The fact that you're going to take flight inspiration from Top Gun Maverick is just phenomenal. What a great idea. And also, a focus on flying. Who would have thought? Superman. Let's focus on flying. You know? Arguably, his most notable superpower. I mean, that's just me. You know, there's a reason Smallville had a no flights, no tots rule, because they were really trying to break from traditional Superman, and really get into the meat of the character. So, of course, no suit, no flying. I mean, they didn't say no suit, no strength, no suit, no speed. Like, they didn't say any of that. You think of Superman, you think of the suit, you think of flying. Boom. That's Superman. I love it. Switching back to Ionon, he elaborated that filming airborne actions required technological innovations. We did that on sound stages. We got these really small, crazy drones now. We've got some of the best flyers in the world here who are working with it. Gunn's integration of cutting-edge technology ensures the action sequences remain immersive and exhilarating. Back at Collider, Gunn acknowledges that Superman is tonally distinct from his past films. Quote, I start with a place that's very hopeful, fun, but incredibly serious all at the same time. Unlike the humor-heavy Guardians of the Galaxy, Superman strikes a balance between grounded realism and fantasy. Back at Ionon, while it has humor, Gunn emphasized that his Superman is not as comedic as Guardians of the Galaxy or the Suicide Squad. Instead, the tone balances around realism with a sense of fantasy, like the classic Superman comics from the Silver Age. I love this idea. Again, this is just going to be me fawning over James Gunn's ideas for Superman. This is just great, honestly. It's serious, but it's hopeful. If this movie sucks, I'm going to be so devastated. Because I'm just expecting perfection. Like, I have the highest of expectations for this movie. And I'm ready to be let down, man. I'm ready. I want to ride this optimism straight to HE double hockey sticks. Again, it's early. Try not to get that explicit tag on this one. The score, composed by Gunn's frequent collaborator John Murphy, features nods to John Williams. Sorry, this is back at Collider. Features nods to John Williams' iconic music from the 1978 Superman film, but is primarily orchestral driven. Gunn described it as a score film in contrast to his soundtrack-heavy Marvel projects. Interesting here. One would argue Gunn's soundtracks just as important to the movie as the script, as far as the way he views it, right? So it's interesting that to him, he sees this more as a score film. I wonder if that just means he has a bit more pathos for this character. We'll see. Back at Ionon, Superman's costume includes the classic red trunks, a decision influenced by actor David Cornsweet, Gunn explained. Superman wants kids to not be afraid of him. He wants to be a symbol of hope and positivity, so he dresses like a professional wrestler. This choice reflects Gunn's understanding of Superman as a beacon of optimism. Love it. The idea, because I just never really thought about it that way. Batman, I watched, Justice League New Frontier, right? And he talks about, he softens up his look so that he doesn't scare children. You know, he wants to intimidate criminals, not villains. I love that. Or criminals, not children. And so the idea that Superman would wear trunks to be less intimidating is such a great take on that. That's such a great take. Like, I mean, I just like the way it looks. I don't necessarily need a reason as to why he wears them. But I love that. That is a great explanation. You know, it's great. Back at Collider, the relationship between Clark and Lois Lane is also a focal point, Gunn stated. The relationship between David and Rachel's characters on screen is something I don't think we've ever seen in a superhero movie ever. This depiction emphasizes Clark's humanity and Lois's strength as a partner and journalist. Back to 09, Gunn's Superman doesn't just reimagine the Man of Steel, but also his place with the larger DC universe. While the film focuses on its own story, it also subtly plants seeds for what's to come, including links to Peacemaker Season 2. However, Gunn is firm about prioritizing the story at hand. Quote, if something's there just to set up something else, F it. He says something else. We're going to skip the E tag this morning. So, from Collider, the final act of Superman lies in its celebration of hope and optimism. Gunn describes Superman as the ultimate symbol of positivity, someone who embraces his power not for dominance, but for inspiration. As the film nears its 2025 release date, fans can look forward to a Superman story that respects the past, reimagines the present, and lays the groundwork for the future of the DCU. One only need to look up. I had that last part. Fantastic. Again, shout out to Collider and IO9 for this both pieces of awesome journalism here. So definitely, I've got the links, like I said, in the description and the pin comment of this episode. Definitely go give them a read. Lots more in there that I did not have time to get into. Stuff about like Mr. Terrific. So definitely worth checking out if you're interested in this. Personally, everything I'm hearing sounds great. I've kind of given my 2 cents as we've gone throughout the reading of this, but it sounds great. Sounds like he's nailing the tone. He's nailing the aspects that are quintessential to Superman. You know, the heart, the positivity, the love. I mean, it's just... I'm ready to be disappointed. Like, my heart is wide open, and I am willing to be utterly destroyed by this movie. Be it a good destroying, where it just blows me away by how incredibly amazing it is, or a bad destroying where I am so let down that it just breaks my heart. I don't think that'll happen, but I'm ready to take it either way. Either way. Let me know what you think. We got the trailer tomorrow, y'all. Fun fact, we'll be doing a live trailer reaction tomorrow night, 8:15 p.m. Barring any children antics. You know, sometimes they push us back a little bit, depending on it, if they want to go to sleep or not. But we will be live, so definitely come back to the YouTube channel. Watch us as I watch the trailer for the first time. I'm staying blacked out on it. I don't want to see any screenshots. I want to know nothing. I want to see the trailer for the first time with Maggie, with you, right here. YouTube.com/hopefully awesome. Story number 2 is just as exciting. Okay, this might as well be the announcement of the 10th Avengers movie as far as I'm concerned, because this is fantastic news. Huge news. This is from Bluey.tv, the official source for all your Bluey news. No, this is the official Bluey website. A Bluey movie is coming, everybody. The first ever animated feature film for Bluey has just been announced. BBC Studios and the Walt Disney Company today announced the first ever animated feature film for Bluey. The film will premiere in cinemas worldwide in 2027, followed by streaming on Disney+. The movie will also air on ABC iView and ABC Kids in Australia post-theatrical release. Written and directed by Bluey creator Joe Brumm. The film is a Ludo Studio production in collaboration with BBC Studios. The film will star vocal talents from the series, along with music created by the Bluey composer Geoff Bush. If you're not listening to Bluey music on Spotify, what are you doing with your life? All right, Geoff Bush, just fantastic. I mean, look, it started off, we're playing it for Viv, for Henry. No, it's for us now. You get the... Oh, there's the one camping where she meets the little dog. Can't think of his name. Totally blanking on it. But he only speaks French. She only speaks English. Jean-Luc. Is that his name? Or am I thinking of Picard? Either way, that music is fantastic. The CG animated film will be produced by award-winning animation producer Amber Naismith, who made Happy Feet, the Lego Movie, and the Lego Batman movie, with Richard Jeffrey returning to co-direct, who did Bluey series 1 through 3. Joe Brumm will serve as executive producer alongside Charlie Aspinwall and Daley Pearson from Ludo Studios, and Justine Flynn from BBC Studios. Film will premiere in cinemas worldwide in 2027, followed by streaming on ABC+. The movie will also air... Yeah, we covered that. We've got more info from Joe Brumm, so I'm going to skip his quotes here, because we actually have a full letter from him. This is from Daley Pearson and Charlie Aspinwall, co-founders and directors of Ludo Studio. They said, over the past 8 years, we've had the privilege of working alongside an extraordinary team of more than 50 artists and producers whose talents, dedication, and creativity have shaped Bluey into the beloved series it is today. Their work has paved the way for this incredible opportunity to expand Bluey's world onto the big screen. We're excited to continue showing Queensland as a home for world-class talent and to share a new, beautiful Bluey story to be a story by Joe Brumm with families around the world. It's exciting, everybody. I'm going to pull up the letter from Joe Brumm. I immediately think of the episode where Bluey goes to the theater and watches Chunky Chimp, I believe is his name. And then at the end it's like, but it all worked out, everything's fine. That whole thing. I would love just if... No. I was going to say if the movie was just them watching that movie. It's like the whole movie is just Chunky Chimp. It's not going to be. Honestly, I don't think they're going to change anything. I've talked about this on our podcast before, but one of my least favorite things is when a show transcends into movies and loses everything about itself or goes too big, and loses what makes it special, right? You think about Doug's first movie, where they added a monster from Lucky Duck Lake. Doug has a monster in it, a lake monster. You got Rugrats, the movie that has them getting lost in the woods with a bunch of talking monkeys, and Dill's only a month old. No, too big. I think The Simpsons did it well enough. You could argue that the big dome over Springfield might have been a bit too much, but I think within the context of The Simpsons, I feel like that works good enough. Bob's Burgers went a hair too big for me, just like the whole murder thing. I know you need to extend the plot, but I love the music in Bob's Burgers movie. Hey Arnold, Recess. Just all of these, they go so big and do these things that really lose touch of what makes the show special, right? And I get it, you gotta have a story that's big for the big screen. Sure, that's great, but you can't lose the essence of the show itself. I think earlier this year, the San episode of Bluey was was a great look at what a Bluey movie could be. Expanded a bit of the characters. We were jumping around a little bit more than we typically do in the 6 minutes or 7 minutes. So it kind of expanded the scope, but we still didn't lose what made Bluey Bluey, right? I can't wait. Like, obviously, I'm going to take my daughter and my son, obviously. But I would go on my own and watch this. Like, it's great. We actually just bought a 2-pack figures, and it's Bandit and Chili from the 80s episode where they're children, and Chili is dressed like She-Ra, and Bandit has his hat. And it's incredible, the fact that they have these toys. Like, I love it. I love it so much. I don't know why I brought that up. Just wanted to let you all know that I got those toys, and they're fantastic. Moving on. This still Bluey news. A letter from Joe Brum. Hi, this is Joe Brum, the creator of Bluey. I'm writing this to share some Bluey news, some good and some difficult. Let's start with the good. After some time spent away from the series working on another project, an old idea resurfaced, and before I knew it, I'd written a Bluey feature script that I really love. Fast forward through a ton of contracting, and we're about to embark on making an animated Bluey movie. Now for the difficult. I always said I wouldn't keep making the show if I thought I couldn't make any new season as good as the last. This would have been the case for me with a potential season 4, so I've decided to take a break from my involvement in the TV series. In the event I can't wrap my head around doing more seasons myself, The Sun will mark my TV finale for Bluey, and I wrote it as such. It did feel like a finale. Like, if it needed to end, it could have ended there. I'm glad it didn't, though. Bluey has completely changed my life. It's been an immensely satisfying thing to be a part of. More than I can really put into words. To walk away from it while it's at such a height will seem crazy to some, but for now I'm finding it difficult to reach back genuinely into that 4 to 6 year old world and write authentically. My Bluey crew and all the creative people in my life completely understand my decision. Working with that wonderful group of people has been the absolute highlight of my animation career, and I hope Bluey on their CV is a badge of pride for them. To be clear, this is not an announcement about the end of the show, but it is an acknowledgement that my focus will be on the film. Thank you for taking this show into your homes. The whole experience has been an impossible experience to describe. Joe Brum, creator of Bluey. So, I'll be honest, at first, reading this, I was like, oh my god, are they ending the show? Like, a movie's great, but please don't end the show. Like, I need the show, right? Because the show is just wonderful. We need both. So thankfully, I'm so glad at the end he wraps it up. He's like, hey, this isn't the end of the show. I'm focused on the movie. The team's going to keep going. You know, and if this show has taught us anything, it's that a community of people, make up the world we live in, right? So, I mean, I guarantee, without Jeff Brum, of course, you're not going to have his voice, but there's so many other voices that are going to be a part of this. I don't have any of the list of writers that's been on the show or anything like that, but I mean, they've all been there, right? I love the fact that he respects it enough to let it go. Like he said, this is literally the height of Bluey. I mean, getting a motion picture, like, it's about to be even more massive than it already is. I mean, Bluey will probably be in the Disney parks, like, you're going to go to Epcot, Australia, and Bluey and Bingo is going to be there. And that's going to be the sole reason to go to Epcot. And I'm there. I'm right now convincing myself that I need to go to Epcot when this happens, because that's going to be fantastic. But anyway, that's great. Honestly, makes me love this guy even more. Joe Brum created a wonderful series here, and is respecting it enough to leave instead of just trying to phone it in. Anybody else, I mean, maybe not anybody else, but there's so many other people that would just cash the check, just phone it in, keep getting it. I mean, and they don't have to try that hard, I mean, yeah, we'd all notice a drop in quality for sure. Maybe they wouldn't be as great, but sure, they'd still be funny. I mean, Family Guy's still going for, 57 years now, and it stopped being funny after like season 4. I'm joking. Just wanted to burn Family Guy for no real reason. I actually liked watching Family Guy, when I was 10. Moving on. I'm just being funny. I really don't have anything against Family Guy. Oh, man. But yeah. Bluey's getting a movie. losing a creator, but the show goes on. Literally, the show goes on. Amazing. Let me know what you think. What do you think the movie's going to be about? If you could have a plot, Bluey plot, what do you think? Will we see future Bluey and Bingo? God, don't do that to me. Anytime we get future Bluey and Bingo, I just can't do it, man. The episode where it shows Bingo and her friend, and like it skips over, like it just shows like, you know, one frame over the next like 16 years all the way to her graduation. And I'm looking at my 4-year-old daughter and I'm like, I am a wreck right now. I am a wreck. I'm gonna die. And I just hug her and she's like, Dad, stop. What are you doing? I'm like, you don't understand. You're little, but you're not gonna always be little. Oh, Bingo's graduating. Such is the life of a parent. Anyway, 2027. This movie alone is going to get me through the next 4 years. I tell you. You know, well, I'm not going to get into it. There's plenty of reasons to be just horribly depressed about the next 4 years, right? But good still happens. Good things still can happen. Good people still exist. And that means that good things are still going to be made. Anyway, Superman and Bluey. What a day. What a time to be alive. Let me know what you think in the comments, everybody. Again, be talking more news tomorrow morning. We'll be back at it again. Tonight, you can come hang out with us while we talk about Digimon and Sailor Moon. I believe it's episode 15, season 1, episode 15 or 16. It could be wrong there, but it's one of those two. We'll be talking about that and just hanging out, talking about 90s anime. You can watch us live right here on youtube.com/hopefullyawesome. Back again tomorrow with the Thursday edition of Movie Mornings. And of course, tomorrow night, the live trailer reaction for Superman. I can't wait. But I'm going to have to. And so are you. So until then, thank you for watching. And as always, have a hopefully awesome day. Goodbye.